Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Mishnah Yomi is continuing in Shabbat in the 6th parak, Mishnayot 8 and 9 today. Hakiteya, a person with a stump. That lo aleinu, his foot was amputated. Yotze bekovshel, he can go out with his kav. His kav is an artificial foot, and it has the resemblance of a shoe. Divrei Rabbi Meir. So Meir seems to hold it's like a shoe for him. Rabbi Yossi says, no, it's aser. Either it's not like a shoe, or even if it is, we're concerned it might get loose, and he would come to carry it in Rishus Rabim, so he can't go out with it into Rishut Rabim, the public domain, on Shabbat. And the Mishnah explains, Im yesh lo beit kibul ketutim tame, if this kav, this artificial foot, shaped like a kind of like a shoe for a stump, if it has a receptacle in it to hold padding to make it more comfortable for his stump, then it is a kli and it can become tame. On this theme, the Mishnah continues, samuchot shalo, his supports. The Barner explains, if both of his legs are amputated, then he wears these like leather shin guards on his lower leg, and he puts weight on them. He sort of walks on these leather pads that are strapped onto his lower leg. So these are tameim midras. Midras is a type of tameh that's translated like treading or seating, because he's putting weight, he's bearing weight. So if he's a zav or a similar form of tuma coming out of his body and he puts weight on them, they get tamei midras. V'yotzin ben b'Shabbos, and he could actually go out on Shabbos. They're like shoes for him. But he can go into the temple courtyard, the azara, with them on, because lamaisa, they're not shoes. Now, we do not wear shoes in the azara. Famously, the Kohanim do their avodah without shoes on, as we see when they do Birkat Kohanim. They wear all sorts of wonderful socks, but not shoes. However, these samuchot, these supports for the amputee, are not really shoes, so you can go into the temple courtyard with them on. Kisei, the samuchot shalo, if he needs a chair and he has arm supports. Now, this is he has a different kind of problem where he needs sort of a chair or something, some sort of small platform he's sitting on. I mean, imagine similar to the wheelchairs we have today, but they didn't have wheels for the wheelchairs. So some sort of platform to sit on, and then he has arm supports this time, smuchot, so he's sort of walking on mini crutches to help him go along. Tamei midras, again, these bear weight, so they can be tamei with midras. But he does not go out with them on Shabbos, because Lamaisi, he's holding them. It's kind of like the chair is like a support, like a platform, and these arm supports, these little mini crutches, are also something held rather than something worn like a shoe. And you can't bring them into the azara, since Lamaisi, they are more shoe-like than the smuchot, than the supports before. The Mishnah concludes on kotmin. And on kotmin is apparently a large mask, used to scare people, or something for Purim. And another mefarshim is it's like an animal, like a donkey costume, which is worn kind of on the shoulder to pretend to be an animal. Again, it's like Purim shtick type stuff. Tahurin. So there's not considered a kli, not considered a beged, so they do not makabel tuma. Ein yotzin behem, but you don't take them out on Shabbat. They're not considered clothing either. So Purim costumes, if they're clothing, that's great. It's for Shabbat. But if there's some sort of mask or donkey costume, that is not for Shabbat in the Rishut Harabim. Great. On to Mishnah Tes. Habonim, the boys, yotzin Bekshorim, they can go out with laces. So what's going on with these laces? So the Bartner explains a really amazing thing. A ben sheyeshu gaguim al oviv. He has longing for his father. When the father goes out to work or goes out to the field, goes out on a business trip, notel ha'av ritzua shel minal yamin. He takes his right shoelace, davka the right, the kosher lo the ben b'smol. He ties it onto the left arm of the kid. The chozman she'odu ketcher love. And when the boy sees this lace, this reminder of his father, sorry magaguim, his longings go away. He's not going to have a tantrum and feel very, lonely and depressed in the middle of his segulah. It's like a segulah. Ulhachi tane habonim, so it's dafka the boys. She'ein lebanus gaguim olavihim kmo lebanim, because girls don't miss their fathers as much as boys do. Maybe they miss their mothers more. They don't miss their fathers as much as boys do. The boys are always looking up to their father. This is a chashuv reminder for fathers, grandfathers, to be the ones setting an example, showing children, grandchildren, proper derech eretz, and the way to act and the way to be osik in Mishnah Yomi. I don't know why it's the right shoelace on the left arm. However, I will point out that the right leg is netzach, al pi Kabbalah, is sort of the long view, the eternality, the long picture, and the left arm is gevura, which could be self-control. So there could be Kabbalistic reasons why dafka it's the right shoelace on the left arm, but please ask your local mikubal, not me. Anyway, the Mishnah continues. I do learn Mishnah, thank God. V'nei melochim bezugin, and the princes can go out with bells. These are decorative bells. Obviously, if they have a ringer in them, an inbal, and they make noise, can't do that on Shabbat. But if they're plugged up or they don't have a ringer, their decoration, you could go out with them on Shabbat if you're the prince. V'kol adam, really anyone can. But the sages say what's common was princes had decorative bells on their garments. But any Jew, Baruch Shem, every Jew is a bnei melochim, every Jew is a prince and a princess, so we're all entitled to wear decorative bells on our clothing on Shabbat and Reshut Rabbim, as long as they're well sewn on and not going to come off. Shkoyach Rabosai, sei gesund.